everyone, and welcome to the Kittens of War Gaming podcast, the gaming podcast that features members from the Kittens of War gaming community, where we talk about games from the past, present, and the future on our news section as well. My name is Turbo Tony, I'm your host, and this week we have the podcast regulars, the mainstays, the cornerstones, some would say, of the podcast. We have Chris and Tom here. Say hi, guys.
Hey guys.
Yeah. And if you're new to the podcast, what we do is that we take a game each and we look back at it. We do an overview of the game, and then we give you our thoughts, our personal experiences with said game, and we give you one each week. And this week I'm actually going to cover a game for the first time, so it's going to be quite interesting there. So yeah, these games can range from past generations to current gen, PC, anything that comes to mind, anything that we can have a good and lively chat about, shall we say. And hope it goes. The games that we are covering this week, Chris will be going first with Resident Evil 5, the co-op game, which a lot of people did not see coming, shall we say? From Capcom. We've got Tom covering Neo Scavenger, a game I do not know anything about, which has piqued my interest. And I'm also going to be covering Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm not going to be covering Grand Theft Auto 5 as a game. I'm going to be covering the online segment of that, and there is plenty to talk about, as you would imagine, for anyone that's has played that section of the game. And you know, Grand Theft Auto 5 being the biggest game, technically of all time, the biggest selling game. But I'm sure we'll get into that as well. So, first of all, guys, how are you all guys doing? You guys doing good?
Yeah, we're all good.
I can't complain too hard.
Very, very good. I think we're into the swing of things now. Third episode. We're doing pretty well. Hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. Let's get into our news. We've got some juicy news this week, and that revolves around PlayStation having a fantastic couple of months, and Microsoft having a few headaches, so to speak, since the start of the new generation. Microsoft, the first part of the news, Microsoft have laid off 18,000 employees. It's roughly 14% of its workforce. Yeah. Massive drop in jobs. Obviously, we hope that these people that have lost their jobs with the company will find new employment. Nice to hear about people losing their jobs, but obviously this is in the gaming sector. What do you guys think of this? I mean, this isn't just Microsoft in terms of Xbox. This is Microsoft the company. This is huge stuff that we hear about.
That is huge. Jesus.
Yeah, it is quite bad that they're taking that big of a hit. Usually they're one of the mainstays. Any kind of recession doesn't really affect.
They're one of the big contenders, aren't they? They all the people you expect to survive any kind of impact on the recession. Microsoft are definitely one of the people you think would weather it well.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you've got to expect a company to have some layoffs at one point or another.
Yeah, I mean, by no means, this isn't like, the company's in decline, it's all going to go downhill, they're all going to disband. It's certainly not that point. But I mean, 18,000 is a pretty massive number. It's a shocking number to be heard of. Now, we don't know yet how this is going to impact the gaming sector. It will impact the gaming sector. We know. We just don't know what point it will do. We obviously the majority of people still use Microsoft computers to run their operating systems.
Yeah.
As much as people may stand by their Macs and Linux as operating systems, it's well renowned. You must know, even though you might like those operating systems, I'm not saying it's wrong that you do. In fact, they probably are better. I've never experienced them myself, but Microsoft is still the mainstay. It's still the one that the majority uses.
Yeah, so. They're the biggest one.
Yeah. So interesting to hear about that. And it kind of goes into our next news as well, that the PlayStation 4 is continuing its trend over the last couple of months, and it happened again over last month and currently this month as well. That the PlayStation 4 is outselling all of its competition. That includes obviously the N64. I was about to say, wow, I'm living in the past. It better damn well be outselling the N64, considering that console's no longer in rotation, but still.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Wii U, and obviously the Xbone, which I think I still laugh at that name. I don't know why.
It's ridiculous.
It is, but still, it's stuck. So there we are. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? I mean, we're all technically Xbox guys. I mean, I
was actually quite surprised because with the price difference they announced on launch, I expected the PS4 to completely bottom out, especially with the line of games they had on their release date. Xbox had the better release games.
Yeah.
But since it's been released, PS4 have come up with some really nice titles. whereas Xbox have just kind of come out with some very recycled titles specifically.
Halo again and again and again. Fucking hell.
Yeah, like his. I think you probably said it. Is I know Xbox have been trying to release a lot of now they're trying to get on the bandwagon of new original titles, but as you say there, Chris, like it seemed like PS4 had a few more ideas up its sleeve. People have bought into that more, regardless of what critics think about it.
I think people were more assured with the PS4, because how much fapping around did Microsoft do when talking about the 360? Connection's going to be on, constant DRM. You've got to log in at least once every 24 hours, or else your console won't respond to you. Well,
yeah.
A lot of things that just didn't need to be, because I remember, say we were the older gens. I remember when consoles were literally new consoles coming out. Oh, what games are going to come out? These games. Oh, I like that game. I'll play that.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sell all these extra bullshitty features, did you?
I think quite a few of the the problem with there not being very many decent games on release date for either console, to be fair.
Yeah, the release date for both of them have been pretty.
All of the focus, especially on like E3 where they were both announced, all the focus was on the consoles themselves rather than the games.
Yeah.
So the companies were waiting to see what Microsoft and Sony would release for the consoles, then they'd tailor their games to the next gen and then go, right, it's next year's E3, it's all about the games. You complained that you didn't have any good games last year, just games at your face.
Yeah, I mean that's like I think one of the main problems that Xbox has done when they went not only just obviously their marketing before they came out and talking about this all their requirements, the DRM stuff, obviously is put stigma on their console. It's very very hard to shake, but they've also tailored the console itself to try and cater to a general audience and obviously like a TV watching audience. A lot of it is about using it as like an entertainment center alongside as a gaming center, whereas PlayStation have always marketed the PS4 as a gaming system with other stuff added onto it, and I think gamers resonate a lot with that. They want a gaming system, a system that's going to run games very, very well.
I know that works, isn't it? People buy a gaming console to game.
Yes, isn't it? It seems like a foreign subject for these guys, isn't it? And a lot of them are trying to give PC gamers a reason to purchase the consoles, where I don't think a console is ever going to outperform PC, so you're fighting a losing war in that sense. No, I still think there's reasons for getting
at least they could release games and it's like, this game looks just as good as it would do on like a really high-end PC.
Yeah.
Consoles are finally catching up to what PCs can do. It's like, because I remember, I think it was Destiny that's just been released, which looks fucking epic, which I really want to get. It's like the one game that's convinced me I need to get a PS4 now.
Yeah, that's the game Bungie made, isn't it?
Yeah. I've seen a few people like kind of test through it and play through it, and I've seen it run on like high-end PC platforms, and then just your bog standard PS4, and they both look exactly the same.
Yeah,
which is like insane because PCs have always been able to have one up in like graphics wise than the consoles because they've always been more powerful.
Well, it's always going to be that way because obviously you can upgrade, the PC output. But I get what you mean. Like it's obviously the exclusives that are going to be on those consoles are going to hook them in. But the fact is that PS4 is doing so well. I think they just marketed that console just so much better. I really do. I think they told gamers we're building this with you in mind. Whereas the Xbox was more, this is an entertainment system. This is going to be the core of your front room. This is all going to be, and all the Connect BS that goes alongside it as well. I think PS4 are reaping the seeds of their marketing in that sense, that they know who they want this for, and it's resonated well. That's what I go with anyway.
Well, yeah, they've done quite well with it, and they were and as you mentioned earlier, they were consistent in their advertising, and when they did their sales pitches and their first announcements, they were consistent in what they were announcing, whereas Xbox were flip-flopping and reversing direction at like the drop of a hat.
They couldn't decide what they were really doing.
I just can't. I couldn't fathom how the marketing people and the people in charge of building the console thought constant DRM, having to log in every 24 hours, not being able to play your games on other systems was ever going to be a good idea and would ever go down well with the gamers.
So yeah, I mean, PS4 happy campers. PlayStation. You got to think with the last generation of consoles, they didn't fare too well. The PS3 had a lot of bad press. Xbox was on the rise. It seems like they've kind of reclaimed their, well, for now anyway, their glory run that they had with the PS2. PS2 will go down. In my opinion, is one of the best consoles of a generation ever made, with the restrictions that were currently there, and it looks like they're doing pretty well. And it does make me think. Because I haven't purchased a next gen console yet. Money isn't exactly great, and we're all PC gamers here, so that often comes first. But it makes me think twice about where I'm going. So PlayStation doing well. Let's move on to the next bit of news here, and this is a new game that was announced to be released. The long-standing game series of fighting games Tekken is getting a new installment, Tekken 7.
Ooh.
It's quite strange that this, quite mad that this has got up to this amount. I always find it funny when games go this long, But Tekken 7 announced. If people don't know, as I stated last week, I am a fighting game fan. I do like fighting games. Tekken is one of the ones that I will occasionally go to. Soul Calibur is my main game that I will go to. But Tekken. Do you guys? Are you a bit partial to a little bit of Tekken?
I haven't played Tekken, but I'm a fan of like Mortal Kombat and things like that. I'm actually looking to purchase the big Mortal Kombat thing they've got on Steam.
The collection.
Because it looks really good, and the new Mortal Kombat that is due to be released looks really nice. So I might try and get into that when it comes out. But I haven't played it in a while. It's been a while since I played a decent 2D fucking beat 'em up game like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a basic one that doesn't involve a lot of environmental stuff along those lines. The thing I find about Tekken is that sometimes it suffers from the fact that a lot of its games become very repetitive. I mean, Soul Calibur it gets that as well. I'm going to cover Soul Calibur 5, and it's not going to be a pretty review when I cover that in some weeks going forward. But it's been a while since the last Tekken, I really have to admit, so it kind of makes sense for them to release a new one now. What about you, Tom? Are you partial to a bit of fighting games?
I am partial, yes. I played Tekken. Oh, which one was it? I played a few of them back in the day, but the only one I distinctly remember was for the PlayStation 1 Virtual Arena. Was it Virtual Arena V3 or something like that?
Virtual Fighter?
It was Virtual. I don't know if it was Virtual Fighter. I remember an arena in there somewhere. It was one of those obscure ones, not a mainstream one.
Yeah.
This is just reaffirming my whole indie cred thing, isn't it? I'm sorry. No,
you like to go against the grain, isn't that right?
Yeah. I do indeed. Everyone's going, I want to see. Shovel through the dirt and see what else there is.
Yeah.
Spin over every pebble and all that bollocks. I did really enjoy Tekken. There's Soul Calibur as well. I really enjoyed 2 and 3. Less about 4 the better, but
4, yeah.
And I didn't even.
5 is worse than 4, but we won't get into that now. I think that's a whole. As I said, I think the thing about Tekken, right, is that the only problem with them is that Tekken's been out of the game for a while. It's released a few little spin-offs and stuff. But as you said there, Chris, that Mortal Kombat have stepped up their game so much more since Tekken's been out of sort of the rotation. So Mortal Kombat now is many people's now first go-to fighting game for good reason, because the last Mortal Kombat game was excellent in every sort of fashion. And the last Tekken game was mediocre in my opinion. I don't think it was that good. And when these games get released, these fighting games that don't give you any sort of story mode, or don't give you any sort of campaign, or any sort of extras that kind of tacked along with it, and then in comes Mortal Kombat, gives you a fully voiced, interesting story mode, all within its lore, that makes you play with multiple characters, lots of side stuff that you can do, tag team fights, all these extras, and it just puts all these other games to shame. It makes these companies you don't have to wonder twice while people are going to Mortal Kombat now for their fighting fix, because it's just a better package.
Yeah, it is.
So still though, interesting, and it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously this is going to be on all new engines, Tekken 7, so that's going to be interesting to watch out. See if they can come back with a boom. I'm sure they can. It's just whether they give it the time and the if it's a passion project for them, and I'm sure the potential is there. Anyway. Let's move on to our games for the week, our bulk of our chat. We've got 3 very interesting games here, and 2 of them I know for a fact are going to be less than favourable reviews. One of them I don't know what the game is, so be interesting there. up until now, we've been very positive about all the games that we've done. So I'm just going to label this as the one where we get a little bit darker, so to speak. And the first of which, and I moved him up the list because he was literally playing it while we were doing the notes for this, so he's fresh. It's fresh in his mind. He knows what he's talking about.
The rage is fresh.
The rage is fresh. We are talking about...
Sprinkle it on your own food. That's how fresh it is.
His teeth are still hurting from grinding them in agony, of the mechanics of said game. But anyway, Chris will be covering Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 was it's not obviously the most recent Resident Evil game, but still fairly recent. And it was a vast departure from the series, as it turned away from horror and turned away from being a single-player experience, made it co-op and made it an action game. So, Chris, take it away. What's your thoughts on Resident Evil 5?
Well, yeah, as you've mentioned, this is going to be a less than favourable review because this. Well, I went into this game with such high hopes. I thought they would have learnt their lesson from Resident Evil 4 because I played 4 and I was like, oh yes, Leon Kennedy, fucking excellent. Let's fucking do this because
scary ass game 4.
Yeah.
Those regenerators still haunt me to this day. By the way.
well, yeah, that's the thing about 4. 4 was a little bit of a departure from the other Resident Evils because it was. Obviously, it was brought up to date quite a lot. Well, up to date for the time, anyway.
Yeah.
And it was like a new look, and it had been given like a fresh coat of paint, and that ticked some people off. And to be honest, the whole mechanics of that game weren't exactly fantastic. It's like the shooting mechanic could be a bit finicky at times. It was hard to aim at points. Some of the bosses were just ridiculously OP in places.
It was the first time that they run with the over-the-shoulder perspective in a Resident Evil game. So, like, they obviously had a few growing pains into that system. So
yes, it did.
But all in all, fun. Resident Evil 4, well worth a play. But it's talk about you say departure from the series in number 4. There's no other understatement in terms of departure from the series when it comes to number 5.
Yeah, and then they went with number 4, and there were some critics of number 4, and they were like, well, there's some things wrong with this game, and, Capcom has quite a good community, but they obviously don't pay any fucking attention to anything that any of their fans say, regardless of who it is, because they went ahead and made number 5 and made all of the same mistakes and actually made the whole fucking thing worse.
Yeah.
like the whole game is just so fucking broken. I mean, the story behind it isn't actually that bad, even though there are some major fucking holes in it.
They Hollywoodized it, I think is probably the best way to say it, isn't it?
Yeah, they tried to make it bigger and more thematic and more of like from second one, the fact that the whole world could be in jeopardy is like pounded into you in every fucking cutscene. In every fucking cutscene there is some vague reference, and well, most of them not even that vague, to like the fate of the world is in your hands. It's like, well, I know this. You mentioned that in the last fucking cutscene, and it's just so fucking. It's just so aggravating, and you can't even take in the story properly because you're so angry with the rest of the game. Especially, I'm going to try and go over this in points. I'm going to try and structure this, but I'm probably going to ramble for a bit.
That's right.
This game takes place 5 years after the event of Resident Evil 4. Now, the zombies in this one I say zombies, not fucking zombies anymore. They're referred to as the Kijuju, and it's set in Africa. Now, the Kijuju are basically are essentially the same kind of thing that happened in number 4.
They're parasites,
but in Africa.
They're infected with parasites. Now, bear in mind what happened in that game. Leon Kennedy, a guy who protects the president, who also works for the BSAA, and also knows Chris Redfield on a personal level. Doesn't want things apparently goes and gets the president's daughter, gets back and tells fucking no one what happened.
Really?
Yeah, Chris, literally one of the first cutscenes in the game, you go barging into this room, there's 3 guys holding down another dude, they chuck one of those fuck off parasites in his gob, and you're like, oh shit, oh that's nasty, and Chris is like, oh, what the hell happened, and goes over to rush to help the guy. It's like, hang on, what? You should know about this. This is the same thing Leon encountered. You should know about this shit, Chris. Do you not pay attention?
Put it in a memo and send it around the office a little bit, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's not only that, it's like, it's common sense. You saw this thing enter this guy, and I remember that cutscene very vividly. It's a little bit like, what are you doing that close to him? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if Shiva had that reaction, it would have been understandable. But for Chris to have that reaction, it just made no fucking sense whatsoever. It's like, even if, like, kind of, you for some reason don't know of the Las Plagas parasite, which is fucking ridiculous, because surely Leon would have fucking told someone about what had happened to him throughout that entire fucking game, but apparently he didn't. Either that or Chris just doesn't pay any fucking attention.
You know the ironic thing, right? I'm sure there's a line in that game, I can't say this for sure, I'm sure there's a line in that game where Chris says, this looks similar to what happened with Leon, or something like that. So he obviously knows, but his reaction doesn't actually cover... I know what you mean, like, obviously he knows as a character, but, like, he doesn't react that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just made no... Like, it made no fucking sense at all for him to have that reaction. And to be honest, he barely reacts to anything throughout the whole fucking game that doesn't involve Jill Valentine.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no emotion for anything, even when he's, like, talking to people or something bad happens in front of him, or when, like, his whole backup squad dies at the beginning of the game. He barely has any sort of emotional reaction. But as soon as there's anything to do with Jill Valentine, it's, oh my god, Jill! Oh. And he goes for a fucking Oscar role. It's like, Jesus, man, have some continuity in your story.
Yeah.
And then, Jill turns up as well, but, like, Jill's got this fucking enslaving device on her chest, which they rip off in the films.
Which they got from this game, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, what didn't the films rip off from this game?
Yeah.
Well, you end up getting this thing off Jill's chest, and they have like in reunion, and she becomes this Deus like a Deus Ex Mechanica for like the rest of the fucking game. Anytime they get into some sort of trouble, she'll pop up and go, "Oh, by the way, you have to go this way," or "Boom, put in this position, go
Thank
this
you, Dungeon Master."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let us summon Jill. She'll tell us where to go next.
Yeah, it's all too easy. Yeah, this story, they kind of fill in their points. I do agree.
Yeah, it's such a predictable storyline, and the characters are just so bland. I mean, I think one of the reasons why they kind of got away with number 4 was that they had Leon Kennedy in it, and Leon Kennedy's always been the stable of the Resident Evil franchise. He has been the one that's kept it alive, even if they've had a bad game, because he's so well written, and he's a very deep character. And even though he is quite withdrawn and quite like monotone in some places, he always shows emotion. You can always tell there's emotion just under the surface, and he's always got some one-liner.
He's always been associated as a character with like horror in Resident Evil. Like in Resident Evil 6, his campaign is the one that mostly resembles a normal Resident Evil game. And in Resident Evil 4, there is a lot of horror segments in that game, and there's a lot of good stuff about that game. So yeah, I get what you mean. That players look at Leon as a character, and he's got a past history of being of something good. You're going to get something good with that character.
Yeah. But with Chris, it's just he's not the same as Leon. He hasn't had quite as much development as Leon, and the fans and even new people to the game don't know him as well as don't know him as well as Leon. So they can't get emotionally invested in this guy as much as they would Leon. Where Leon can be cold and distant sometimes, there's deeper emotional depth behind it. When Chris does it, he just comes across as a dick.
I think it's more along the lines as well. I mean, like, in Resident Evil 4, and obviously the other game that Leon was in, you're always feeling that you're under threat, that you can die. Like, there's sometimes that, like, you're not the strongest thing out there. Resident Evil 5 never gives you that sort of sense of, I'm overwhelmed. It's always like, I've got the tools to deal with whatever comes at me.
Yeah,
so like that really takes away from the feeling of dread and like of fear, because you're a tanked up fucking muscled up guy with a teammate who can just deal with anything that comes in your way, and that really detracts from it.
I don't remember if you went. So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, that's another thing that bugs me about this game. Why did they add a partner? They had a perfectly good recipe for their horror games, with you on your own with limited ammo, trying to find a way through the obstacles that come up against you. The bosses are more threatening because you're this tiny person against this giant mutated monstrosity. But in this one, you just have a partner that, you know, if you get hit to like a quarter of your health, she'll come up and stab you with something to revive you. So the threat is completely diminished. Even if she is fucking useless everywhere else, she'll come up and heal you, and you're like, okay, then I guess I'll just carry on with no ammo. Yeah. I want to die so I can respawn with my ammo. I can't do that because you keep healing me.
Say what you will about Dead Space, it was crap, but at least they figured that part out. Don't have an AI partner when you're playing it without your friends.
Yeah.
Except for in number 3, when you had the option to jump in on co-op, and it was just like, ugh, ruined.
But I get what you mean though. Like in a game that's been primarily, I mean, obviously they went an action route, and fair enough, they made that decision. They went for it. But the AI for the character, for your teammate character, if you're not playing with anyone else, is really, really poor.
She's shockingly bad.
Yeah, and that detracts from it. If you've got a game that game relies on the fact that you've got a teammate. Like I said, it decided it wanted to be a co-op game, and it went all out trying to make it a co-op game. So there's a lot of parts where you need to focus and work as a team when your AI partner is sometimes just completely brain dead, just completely gone. There's nothing there.
No.
When the game relies on it so heavily.
Yeah, I mean, there are bosses and puzzles you can't complete without your partner. You can't do it on your own. I tried defeating a couple of these bosses on my own because my companion is the useless boob that she is. She is there to be a like you know, some walking sex appeal. I pretty much think that's why she's there in the game, and she's not even that useful. Occasionally she'll give you ammo, but that's only because she picked up the ammo you wanted to get earlier in the game anyway.
She stole your ammo to begin with. Yeah
She'll occasionally come up and heal you, which is nice. You don't have to worry about opening the fucking menu so that you can choose your fucking herb. If you don't have it locked to one of the like up, down, left or right on the D-pad, which is another thing, the inventory screen, what the fuck? It is the tiniest inventory I have ever seen in a game, and it is the weirdestly constructed one as well. You can't equip armor. It takes up a slot in your inventory screen, and that wouldn't be too bad if you had more than 9 fucking slots in your inventory. I understand they're trying to pump like you know, survival horror into this game so that you only have a limited amount of ammo and limited amount of resources to get the job done. But that's just fucking stupid. It's like, what? I put armor on it, it fucking goes into my pocket? What the fuck?
And late game as well, once you've completed it and you're going for all the extras, like, it becomes a non-issue anyway, because like, you get infinite ammo for your guns. So it actually becomes like a non-issue, so they completely botched it. Whereas like, I think the system... I know the reason why they did it, and I can tell the reason why from playing it, is they want you to be able to quick swap while you're playing co-op, you know, so you don't have to go into a menu and do it all from there. But I would have much preferred it to be a Resident Evil 4 system. You can still do quick slots. That's what everyone else does. So with a gun, you click it so when I press RB and Y, it brings up my shotgun, it brings up my pistol, it brings up my rifle. But you can still do the inventory stuff that you had in Resident Evil 4, which I thought was really, really good. Yeah. But they decided to go the route of, as you said there, your armor takes up a slot. You know, even though you're wearing it, it's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, like, it would have made more sense to have a decent inventory in like a pause menu and then have like a smaller quick access one on the D-pad.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't do that. That would have made much more sense. But no, like you know, there's loads of times, even if you play it on the easiest difficulty, there'll be loads of times where you'll find yourself running up with like no ammo at all. Just because, you know, you've had to waste it because the fucking shooting mechanic is shit. Oh, that is one thing I am going to fucking go on about.
You can't move and shoot. That was the biggest thing, wasn't it?
You can't move and shoot. You can't move and reload. You can't move and reload. You have to aim to reload. You can't just reload on the fly. You have to stop, aim your gun, reload. You can't move while you're doing this. You can't strafe while you're aiming. You can't do anything while you're aiming except aim the gun, unless you turn the the controller sensitivity up to maximum. It like you know, you turn like a fucking tank turret, and then if you let go of it, it doesn't stay where you were. It's like flops back to where it thinks, the game seems to think the center is. So if you let up on the aiming stick just a little bit, it will kind of jump back to where it was, which is fucking aggravating as shit when you're trying to do precise aiming. And like you know, it's the shittest over the shoulder shooting mechanic there is. I mean, even Metal Gear Solid managed to get it right. Dead Space managed to get it right. Why the fuck can't Capcom get it right with Resident Evil?
On their second try.
Yeah, on their second try. It's I mean, even in 4, it wasn't this bad. It makes the game almost unplayable in places.
You may as well have concrete shoes when you're firing your gun, because you ain't gonna move. I can try. There is no moving.
I know, that's just fucking stupid. You can't even roll out of the way. You can't even double tap A or double tap a button so you roll backwards out of the way of the guy that's about to munch your fucking head off.
Yeah.
And there are some places where they literally come up behind you, so you've got you can turn around quickly, but you can't do that while you're aiming. So if something comes up behind you while you're shooting, you've got to come out of the aim, spin around, then go back to the aim. By that time, they've already hit you with what they're carrying.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's a stun stick, it's like, oh, great, now I'm stunned for a second. Great, now I've got to fucking aim again. It's fucking annoying as shit. And this is what's been getting to me about Resident Evil recently, is that the zombies can now use guns. Oh, they're not zombies anymore. They're parasites. It's like, no, bullshit. It's a fucking zombie game. They've always been zombie games. I'm fully willing to accept fast-moving zombies or mutated zombies that can run up and down ceilings and come after you with big messed up claws. Fully willing to accept that because it's a virus and it can mutate you. But no, use guns. No. Just I'm not having it. That bit always irked me. It really did. It's like, now they have full cognitive thinking that they can reload a gun and use it to perfect precision. And it's a little bit,
I can accept that if it was a parasite being used, but they tried to have zombies as well in the 6th one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So
they kind of went back. Yeah, well, they kind of went back to more to their roots with number 6. Which I actually prefer number 6 to 5 by a fucking mile.
I don't. I think 6 is abysmal, but there we go.
Well, the storyline's a bit weird, but I actually quite liked how they all intersected. I thought that was executed quite well. It can be difficult to follow, and it does get a bit stupid in places, I will admit, but it is quite nice to see how they tied all those storylines into one, and you can see them in different places. And everyone bitches about Ada Wong's campaign. I liked Ada Wong's campaign. That was fun.
Yeah,
to see it jump around.
The thing is, with obviously we're talking about Resi 5 and 2, everyone's going to take different games differently, and I think with Resident Evil 5 and 6, people will take it different. Some people do like the game because they look at it as an action game, and I think if this game didn't have the Resident Evil moniker on it, and a lot of the finer actions were fine-tuned, it could be a really good game. But the problem is the gameplay, and then it's got the Resident Evil stigma that's around it. People bought this game looking for a horror experience, and they didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's the problem. That was part of the problem as well. They were trying to cater for a market that doesn't look to Resident Evil because horror games is a niche market.
Yeah,
you can't broaden that demographic, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they were trying to get players. They thought that the Resident Evil fans would take this and they'll get brand new fans. The problem is they alienated their fans in the first place. It was a very, very bold move, and I think they've especially with 6, because Leon's story was fine, and then they went back to the Resident Evil 5 thinking for Chris's campaign. Funny enough, considering Chris was in Resident Evil 5, and then it's just they tried to cater to almost too many people and never nailed it properly. I think with Resident Evil 5 they went so far actiony. They were trying to make this Resident Evil Call of Duty in a third person perspective. That's there's no illusions here. That's what they were trying to get, the Call of Duty market. That's,
they were.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that there's been quotes by the developers saying that was the market they were trying to get.
Can I just raise one point about number 6? Why is it that Leon S. Kennedy, a veteran of 2 Resident Evil games, sees a zombie, points a gun and says, "Don't move or I'll shoot you"? I don't know. You'd think at that point something would click in his head and just hang on, I recognise this tune. I've played this. I've danced this dance before.
Maybe
I know what this is.
Well, maybe he said that because he didn't want to accept the fact that yet again he's in another one of these situations.
Just had this image of just literally throwing his gun down, turning to the writers and just going, "Fucking seriously, we're doing this again."
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm done.
The thing about Resi 6, and like I said, I don't want to talk too much about Resi 6 because we're covering obviously the other one, but Resi 6, I watched the opening segment and all I could think of is that Michael Bay is jerking to shit over this fucking opening sequence. It is so Michael Bay. It really is explosions. Massive, it's just it's just silly. But go back to Resi 5. Obviously, a lot of people blame this game. They do. They point the finger at this game as being the gateway to where Resident Evil started to go wrong, and there is a lot of. I can't really disagree with them a lot.
Well, the movies came at this, so I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, this game is just so badly designed. I mean, visually, the game is actually quite nice. All the effects are quite nice, like kind of, all the effects are actually quite well done. Yeah, all the character models are good, except for they show no fucking emotion.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they're just like, oh, I'm going to go kill the zombie. Okay, we go kill the zombie. Yeah. And they're just, it's just so fucking stupid. I mean, and Shiva annoys the living shit out of me. One, at the very start of the game, it is explained that her specific purpose is to be the bridge between you and the native people so you can communicate with them properly. She, from the colour of her skin, she is quite obviously not a member of this country because she's far too lightly coloured compared to every other character model.
Yeah.
Doesn't she also have a British accent?
Yes.
Yes, but this is the weird thing. Her accent fluctuates.
Yeah.
If you listen to her accent carefully throughout the entire game, she fluctuates between British, American, and maybe possibly somewhere near an African accent.
She wavers in and out.
Yeah, she wavers between, and she can never quite settle on what accent she's doing. And it really annoys the shit out of me, because I can, I pick up things like that in the game quite a lot with voice acting. It just annoys the shit out of me. It's like, hang on, oh no, it's still you, what the fuck?
That can break immersion. Bad voice acting breaks immersion. It really can.
Yeah.
You get even a little bit of bad voice acting, suddenly you're just removed from the whole thing. The thing I found really funny about Sheva, right, is that, as you said, she's supposed to be the bridge between you and the local populace, and it's literally, within about 5 minutes, she's got a gun, she's shooting the local populace. It's quite funny.
I
want to raise a point, because
she breaks her character in, the first 2 minutes of the game. Not even 5 minutes in. 2 fucking minutes in, the first fucking cutscene she has. You are walking with her up to this door. This guy, she speaks in, I think it's Nigerian or something. She speaks in the native language to the guard. He then pats her down, and then she goes, "There's no need to get handsy." Why are you now talking to him in English? You just addressed him in his native language. He doesn't know what you're saying. He could shoot you in the face because he thinks you're calling his grandma a big fat whore. What the fuck? It's like, you've just broken your character right there. Just for the sake of some cliche line.
Yeah, go on, Tom.
It's bullshit. Wasn't there a big thing with Resident Evil 5 about huge racism row?
There was massive racial issues, actually, yeah, because loads of people were saying that, especially, it was more to do with trailer than it was the actual game, because the whole trailer was obviously Chris and Shiva shooting the shit out of loads of black people, which obviously offended quite a bit, and then they showed the tribal bit as well. Yeah, they showed the tribal bit as well, which was part of the controversy. It's like, oh, you're depicting us all as base savages or attack you at the drop of the hat, and of course the main good guy is this big epic muscled white dude, and the person who's supposed to be from our country looks nothing like anyone else in the game at all. She's barely brown. She's more white than she is brown.
Yeah.
And I'll back them up. And I fully agree with them with the tribal bit. That really is just you have no room to maneuver with these tribal people. They see you, they're going to eat your face.
Yeah. The whole racism thing, right? To a degree, I can disagree with the general consensus. It's racist because you're shooting black people. Well, no, if you've got a game set in Africa, that just makes sense. They're the local populace. But as you say, when you get to the tribal people, then there's no defending. You just can't get away from the fact that it is a little bit... Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit wrong at that point.
Yeah.
So you can see both sides of the argument, because why didn't any Spaniards raise the fact that we're out in the Resident Evil 4, we're out there slaying Spanish men left, right, and centre?
Yeah.
No one batted an eyelid, but we get to Africa, you're shooting the indigenous population, and of course you can see why people get upset. But again, as Tony said, you're in Africa. Who else is living there?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to set it there, it's not as if we're shooting them because we're black. It's not about that. But like I said, the kind of defense of it kind of goes out the window when you start fighting tribes people. It just gets a little bit bonkers from there.
Capcom did try, because I'm sure in the first bit, I haven't played it myself, but I heard people say most of them black, but you see the odd white person in there as well. So you can't just say you're exclusively killing. But when you get to the tribe section, you just think, why? Yeah. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? What, Capcom? Just what? Why?
Who came up with this idea, honestly, and who okayed it? It's a little bit
Well, you go into looking at the thing. It's like you go in to find this dude called Josh, who's like captured by them, which is a bit weird. Yeah, I think that like all of it is just some massive setup so you can fight this big colossal octopus like thing in the fucking river. I think that's like the only reason you go to that area is so that you get the setup for it in the river on the boat.
Yeah, and they have an excuse for you to fight crocodiles as well.
Yeah, the only point where the shooting mechanic actually works when you're sitting on a fucking turret.
Yeah.
The only point where you shoot any gun that it actually fucking works properly.
Yeah.
Because it's like just to talk about the shooting mechanic, it's just so fucking off kilter. It is so fucking bad. I mean, like if you're doing an over the shoulder shooter, you'd think that they'd center the camera down the gun arm, and that's where you'd be shooting, and that the character would hold it so that they're going straight with the gun arm, straight with the camera, so you can see where you're shooting.
They don't even give you like a laser pointer or anything, do they?
They do, yeah.
I know there's some bits of it that they don't. I'm pretty sure there's some of it, and you've got to fire and get your bearings off first. But even the laser pointer kind of is a little bit off.
Yeah,
I just remember that. Like, I only got headshots after taking one shot first to realise where I was shooting, and then adjusting my aim. Therefore, after that, sort of thing. Like, it wasn't, or using the rifle, which you look straight down a barrel, and it's just, easy as that. But
yeah, but it's just weird the way they've constructed it, because it looks like Chris is actually holding his gun, like, not in his shoulder, but like halfway across his chest, because the gun and the laser pointer itself is just such a massive angle to the camera itself. It makes no fucking sense, and it makes shooting anything a fucking chore.
Which there's a lot of shooting in this game.
Yeah, and the whole game is shooting, apart from fucking quick time events, but we'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah.
but it just makes shooting anything such a chore, and like you can't concentrate on the story itself, which might have some good points, but you don't fucking know this because you're struggling and fighting against the game mechanic. And you're fighting against the fucking shit AI that your partner has. Like, no word of a lie. Just before we were talking on Skype, I was doing the fucking oil tankery bridge bit where you got to fight your way through 3 different sections.
Oh yeah.
And I am not shitting you. I stood on top of a walkway. I let a zombie walk past me. She fired 6 shots at this thing. Hit it once. Tried to melee it twice. Missed twice, backed up 3 steps, fired a shotgun at it, and only just managed to kill it. I was like, seriously, no,
Why the fuck are you even here?
Question it at this stage. But yeah, it's like it baffles you how shit your AI partner can be when she's such a big part of the game.
She surprises you just how awkward sometimes at parts of the game where it's like very gameplay focused, where like she'll just run off into the distance and get downed, and you're like, why did you do that, you moron? Like, now I've got to kill these things within a set amount of time to actually get you back up, and it's like, you did this because you didn't stay next to me, you moron. Yeah, there was a few times
go randomly running off because she thinks that you need to get to the objective. I mean, if you want to look around and search for ammo, she'll occasionally break a box to help you out, but other times she'll just go, no, I'm going to go running up, and she'll fuck off into the distance. And you'll go, oh, wait, where the fuck did my partner go? You'll walk out a doorway and she'll just teleport in front of you like, I was here all along.
Yeah.
No one suspects a thing. It's like, for fuck's sake. Like, I've seen her teleport quite a few times because she's got too far away from me, and I just go, whoop. It's like, fuck you, game.
She has powers. Yeah. Mystical powers.
Yeah, but it's like
Wesker powers.
Wesker powers. A really good example of just how broken she is that the gun-toting zombies have better aim than she does. It's fucking terrible. It is so ridiculous.
Maybe you should just infect her then, Chris. Maybe she'll play a little bit better then. Maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, you spend most of the game going, Shiva, get out of the fucking way. Shiva, get out of my fuck. Shiva, get out of my way. Okay, now, shoot the. Just. Can you just shoot the? Can you, Shiva? Can you just give me the fucking ammo? I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Give me all of the ammo, stand behind me, and just do nothing, because that's all you're good at. Just heal me if my health gets too low.
Let's talk about the insta-death QTEs. Insta-death QTEs.
Fucking insta-death. Oh, you don't even get a second attempt at these fuckers. I mean, some in other games where there's QTEs, if you fail it once, you'll get a small scene where it'll lead back into the QT and you can try it again.
Yeah.
But in this game, no, you fuck up once, boff, death. And then you that's the whole fucking thing again.
The main thing with that, right, is that what happened with these QTEs that really annoyed me is that you can play them, yeah. If you're just doing it the first time, you die. It brings you out the experience, of course, but you die. It will start you back up at the start of that thing. You know what's coming next time. You can do it. The problem is when you're trying to go for S ranks in this game. If you die on this thing, it counts as a death, and you lose your S rank. You have to do the entire chapter again. And some of these things are at the end of a chapter. So, like, yeah, fair enough. On these chapter ones, you could like start it up, do the QTE. If you clear it, then you carry on. But like, if you're trying to do it and get S ranks on some of the hardest stuff, which I did on this game because I played a lot of it, then it's hell, because you could make one little mistake because you're tired, you've had a really hard battle, you keep yourself alive, and then you miss out just because you pressed one wrong button. It is infuriating. I cannot stress how infuriating that can be.
And they're so inconsistent with these QTE events as well, because they'll take place in the cutscenes, but there'll be no lead up to this QTE event. You'll have no idea that it's coming, and then suddenly you'll get a button flash on the screen, and if like, you know, you're just sitting there watching the cutscene, you're not holding your controller properly, you've got to like scramble for the button, and then you miss it.
Yeah.
But they're not in every cutscene though. They're only in like a cutscene or every other cutscene, or maybe 2 cutscenes in a row, or maybe not. Like 2 cutscenes will happen when you get no QTE events.
Yeah.
And I know that's supposed to, like, you know, tie you into the game, so you've got to pay attention, but it just becomes fucking aggravating, especially if you look away for 5 seconds, or like, you know, you pick up a drink or something, and then suddenly you've got to like drop the drink and smash the fucking button to win the QTE event, otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah. And
some of them are just too long. Some of them are just fucking long. I mean, especially the one on the plane that I was playing while we were setting up. That's such a long QTE event. It's too long.
It is. It's massive. And if you fail the end of it and you die at the end of it, you have to watch the entire thing over again.
Yeah, and you've got to do it again.
One of the worst memories I had of this game is playing co-op, and I'm not going to reference who it was, but someone kept mucking up the QTE segment. I must have watched that scene about 15 times over. I'm not joking.
Shit.
And it's just like, because when you're playing co-op, it gives you one of the QTE bits, and it gives your friend one of the QTE bits, then it's back to you, then it kind of shifts it back and forth to whoever, like if Sheva's fighting and someone's controlling Sheva, then it'll be them doing the QTE, and then it goes back to you. So if you've got someone else that's not very good at QTEs, get ready. You're going to be sitting there for a long time trying to get these things done, and to the point that you're just going to be like, this is just a chore. It's not fun. It is. A lot of these games, if you keep failing QTEs, then what they'll do, they'll give you an option where you can skip through them.
Yeah.
And like you don't even know how to deal with them, but no, not for Resident Evil. No, you have to deal with it. So.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of QTEs, fucking boss battles. Just my shit, they're just so like I enjoy a good boss battle. That's why I enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus so much, because it was just boss battle after boss battle after boss battle, each more epic than the last. But with this one, they just become such a fucking chore, because you can only defeat them a certain way, and that usually relies on your partner. And of course, she's fucking useless, so you've got to try and pick up the slack and try and beat it in the easiest way possible, but that's damn near impossible. And some of them are just so fucking ridiculous and OP and just weird and just... I mean, okay, I don't mind a villain that you get that evolves as you fight it, or like you know, changes forms.
Yeah.
But when every single boss you fight does this, it gets fucking old fucking quickly.
Yeah, and like, I think
your last boss, have your boss go through like epic stages of conversion and go, "This isn't even my final form." Smosh. I mean, that would be cool, because then you'll get to it. It's like, oh my god, this guy is completely ridiculous. The other guys were fucking easy. This guy's fucking insane. How the shit am I going to do this? And it ties you into the game. But when the rest of your villains are fucking all just, this isn't my final form. This isn't my final form either. I've got another final form, but I've got a final form as well. I'm an octopus. I'm a dragonfly. I'm a big weird tentacly hentai monster thing. And guess what I'm going to do to Shiva?
Yeah.
It's just fucking stupid. It gets on my tits. It really does.
One of the main issues with the boss battles that I found is that there's no dedicated dodge button, and a lot of those battles that you do, they give you a QTE to dodge, and if you miss that, and it's different buttons sometimes, which will be the dodge, right? So if you miss that, then a lot of the time it'll mean you get killed or you lose a huge portion of your health. to the point that is devastating to your chances of winning that fight. And because there's no dedicated dodge button, like you can't preempt it. You have to wait until the game decides to tell you when it's time to dodge, and that often isn't enough time. You know, by then you learnt the patterns. You know when to dodge. It's just the game doesn't let you do it, and it's quite frustrating.
Yeah. Like a really good example of that getting really frustrating is like one of the last boss battles when you're on the tanker and that woman does a big not even my final form nonsense. And like you've got this targeting laser, this weapon is the laziest, most cop-out, shittest designed weapon I have ever encountered in a game. And this fucked me the hell off because it is not difficult to build and code a targeting laser. Every other game that has involved any kind of targeting laser in any way, shape or form has always had a unique item for this. Something that you look at and go, yep, that's a targeting laser because it looks like a targeting laser, or it looks like or in some games it's some like futuristic looking thing and you're like, oh, this is quite obviously it.
Yeah.
And usually it's some form of like handgun type thing or you know, it might be a pair of binoculars or something.
Yeah.
But some thought will go into the building of this weapon. Not in Resident Evil 5. We're just going to get a bog standard anti-tank missile launcher, stick some sort of shitty lens thing on the front, and have it fire a laser.
It's a two-handed heavy weapon, isn't it? It makes you like run around as if you've got like a bazooka on your back. It makes you. It
is a bazooka. That is exactly what it looks like. As soon as I picked this thing up, I was like,
you're looking to fire it, aren't you?
The targeted laser. I went, that's not a fucking laser. And
you fucked that up so badly.
Yeah, so I thought, oh, brilliant, fucking anti-tank missile launcher. I'm gonna fucking have this. What? It fires a laser?
That doesn't even work for ages. You have to keep it held for ages until anything actually happens. It's so broken.
That QT dodge really hits on your nerves because it happens at random segments, and sometimes it's not even it's the X button for this one, but it can be the X and A button at the same time.
Yes.
For a couple of them, and I know whatever I had an X and an A, X and an A, X, all in the space of a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fucking shit? And this thing takes so long to actually charge so you can fire the fucking thing. And the way that you're supposed to do it is your co-op partner will shoot these big glowing orange orbs that, you know, they totally ripped out of Dead Space, in my opinion. That was a total Dead Space ripoff. Everything has some kind of glowing orange, like, you know, soft spot. And it's like, no, like, Dead Space has already done that. Come up with something new. But it was just stupid because your partner is supposed to shoot these, like, Dead Space orbs so that the things will stop moving around so that you can target, so they're still long enough so you can target them with the laser. But she is such a crap shot that this never happens, and like you chew through so much ammo waiting for her to do this and dodging and losing your health. Every time you lose too much health, she comes over and heals you. It's like, stop healing me and shoot the fucking thing.
Yeah, because when it breaks the aim that she does when she does it, isn't she? Yeah, it can get very frustrating. And that game,
you just drop that thing, pick up a gun myself, shoot the things that I'd say still, and wait for her to do it. Yeah, but even that takes a fucking age.
Yeah. I mean, the issue with that particular boss fight as well is that when you get hit with something, it covers you in like the little slimy parasite things, so it saps your health as well, which is quite frustrating.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about this game, which I want to add just before we wrap up, is that, as you said there, some of the boss fights when you first do them, they're quite frustrating if you're not playing with another player, which thankfully I was for the majority. But if you manage to complete the campaign. All the chapters collectively, if you manage to get the entire game under 5 hours, you get infinite rocket launcher as one of your bonuses. That gives the game basically easy mode. Doesn't matter what you do. All the bosses then are one hit kill. So it makes like it is no middle ground with the bosses here. They're either very, very hard because you don't have the infi rocket launcher, or there might as well not be a boss battle because you have the infi rocket launcher.
Yeah.
It's really, I don't know why they thought that, because the game is very easy to clear under 5 hours once you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
And you can rush through a lot of the bits that you took a lot of time on, and it cuts it down. So it's kind of one extreme to the other, and neither are either fun. So I think that's
I mean, this game has got like. There's so much slamming from you know the fans and everything like that, and apparently this game has like a surprisingly high replay value. It doesn't, because you're so fucking angry with it. You don't want. I mean, I literally picked up this game for the first time since I brought it when it came out. Just because I didn't even complete the game. I still haven't completed the fucking game because it's so fucking aggravating.
You are very close to the end, though. You're at the volcano at the end, aren't you? So.
Yeah, I'm at the fucking volcano. A fucking volcano. How James Bond yeah. This game rips off so many other games and films and everything when you look at it. They all have predictable lines. They rip off lines from films. It's in a fucking volcano at the end. How cliche can you fucking get? It's like they all break characters so they can do shitty one-liners they think are going to appeal to people who play action games. It's like, no, stay true to your source material. Yeah. Stay true to your fans.
Well, what you said, yeah, go on.
If you stay true to your fans and you give them a really good game, they're going to go to their friends who don't play horror games and maybe play Call of Duty and go, play this game. It's brilliant. It's a decent shooter game with fucking zombies, man. Zombies are cool. Play this shit.
Yeah, get scared sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then that will bring over the people who play Call of Duty, so you'll still be getting that demographic. Don't release a half-assed, plagiarized bullshit game to try and appeal to these people while alienating your other fans and releasing it when it's half done and feels clunked together. It's a fucking cop-out, and that's such a bad thing that's happening in games these days. They think just because you slap a fucking brand name on it, like Resident Evil or Call of Duty or fucking Alien or Predator or something like that, if you slap a well-known brand name on it, people are going to buy that shit, and unfortunately they will, even if it's a fucking shit game.
Yeah. Well, Call of Duty is the biggest contender of that, isn't it? You put a Call of Duty slap on it, it doesn't matter how different it was from last year, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
We're mugs for it, really. Well, we're not, because we don't buy it, but...
I think I might get some hate from you from this, Tony, and especially from Ben, because I know Ben plays a lot of these type of games. But the biggest culprits of this rebranding bullshit every fucking year, because they want to try and rope saps in who are fans, are football games and wrestling games.
Well, you know...
They are the worst for it. It is the same fucking shit every year, rebranded with a different number on the box, and they go, oh, it's new graphics, it's new AI, it's better than it's ever been before. No, it's not. It's the same fucking thing as last year with slightly improved graphics, just ever so slightly. The guys from WWE, 13 and 14, look the same they do 5 years ago when I stopped playing wrestling games. Yeah. They look no different at all. It's the same with football games. Football games bore the shit out of me. I know there are some people that enjoy them, and I'm not saying you're a bad person if you do enjoy them, but for me, they're just boring. It's the same. You are sitting doing the same thing over and over again. There's no challenge in it. And unless you're sitting there with a friend and playing it with a friend so you can have some enjoyment, back and forth between the two of you, I just don't see where the challenge is in the game. I mean, I played the entirety of the World Cup, the FIFA, and was it the FIFA World Cup and all the other cups, and I just sit there going, this is boring. This is the same thing I've done over 30 times now, and I'm still not anywhere closer to my goal. What am I doing?
Yeah. Well, I am a huge FIFA fanatic, as people may know. I play a lot of FIFA, but even still, I buy games, FIFA games, on a 2-3 year rotation. I'm playing FIFA 12.
Yeah.
So, I don't buy the FIFA games week in, week out. There is a lot of integral stuff to the FIFA games, and I will cover a FIFA game once on this. But, no, I fully agree with you. In terms of releasing them each year, there isn't enough changes in between them, apart from a roster update, which is the transfers that happen. But you can do them in the game anyway. Anyone that really wants to do that, you can just transfer them all in the game anyway, so you can save yourself some money. I'm a bit thrifty like that. But and I haven't bought a wrestling game since WWE 12. So as you can imagine, it was quite a long time ago. So I agree with you in that fact.
Yeah, Resident Evil has fallen into this trap of just coming up with some half-assed storyline that kind of ties in with the lore and the universe, even though they keep coming up with new parasites and shit to try and excuse this bullshit. Slap together a really half-assed game mechanic, fucking plap Resident Evil on it, plap a fresh number on it, and there you go, it's done. Get it out the door.
That's it.
Well, and number 6, didn't Umbrella actually got killed off?
Yeah.
So another company came up and took their place, doing exactly what they did.
As well. Umbrella is dead in 4 as well.
But they just go back to the same thing. It's just the same idea, just different name. It's still the same.
It is now Tricell.
Still the same.
You would just be someone like Chris or Leon, and you'd just be sitting there thinking, "What the fuck is the point? The human race is clearly determined to kill itself off. Morons. Yeah. Why don't we just move to the moon?"
Yeah. Just give the planet to the dolphins. They'll do something better with it. You know.
I mean, it seems like the games and the films seem to be going down the same route of just becoming more ridiculous and contrived as they go on. There's no continuity of story.
That last movie.
The last one was just fucking stupid. It's like, oh my god, Resident Evil. How many things from all the games can we cram into one abomination of a film at once?
So much that, they rip off Aliens as well, because they take the little girl and they shove it into this cocoon, even though the liquor has never done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, where did this come from? Why is it doing it?
Yeah, and then like it's like, they capture fucking Alice, they stick her in a ring, do this really weird screechy noise at her, which is apparently really horrifically terrifying, and it melds your brain, whereas I just found it to be annoying. And then she meets up with Ada Wong, who they ruined.
Absolutely.
See, these are my biggest gripes about that fucking abomination of a film.
It's just the fact they've got her armour in her size, literally just outside the cell. Why?
It wasn't outside the cell, it was in the cell.
Yeah.
In the cell. It was just like, what the fuck? And then, like, kind of, they ruined Ada Wong. They made Leon look like a fucking douchebag.
He looked like a bad porn actor trying to reenact Resident Evil.
Yeah, but just his character was badly written. He was nothing like he is in the games. I mean, when I heard...
character? There was no character.
Exactly. He just came across as like a douchebag, really. Like a really one-dimensional douchebag. And it was just like, well, no. And then of course they brought back Wesker. It's like, no.
How did he survive though? Didn't he like explode or something?
He did explode, yeah.
And imploded all at the same time.
So why didn't Alice just turn around and say, "Holy shit, how are you living? Why are you alive? I saw you explode. No, this is not happening. I call bullshit on this."
I'm sure that we could have like a whole conversation about all the inconsistencies in the Resident Evil movies and how they just kind of drag down.
That's because there's so
many of them. Yeah,
there is literally not enough time.
I will say now, I love the first movie. I love the first movie.
Yeah,
brilliant.
The first one was good. That kept through to the source material. I did like that.
But then the second one, Alice is suddenly supremely overpowered, and it's just like, no, you don't give a shit when the hero's supremely overpowered, because then there is no thrill for it anymore, and not in a zombie movie. And I fucking hate Jill Valentine, because who the fuck... Is it Jill Valentine? Yeah, because who the fuck survives in heeled boots, a miniskirt, and a boob tube in a zombie apocalypse? No one. That's
because
who.
Boobs, that's
no
why.
one.
Yeah, there you go. Chris is just giving you the reason. Because boobs. That's why they did it. All right, we need to wrap this up.
Yes, let's
move on.
Just rage and rant about everything.
That's it. I'm sure we'll do one of these days.
Podcast, aren't we?
I'll tell you what we'll do one of these days, and I promise our listeners this. We'll do this one week where we do like a movie one, and we do the Resident Evil movies. We go back and watch them all, and do a look back on all the things that are just bonkers in that movie.
Just do like a rage podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking yeah.
Let's talk about a game we don't know much about.
All right.
Let's talk about Tom's game this week. So, Neo Scavenger, a game I know nothing about. So there you go. Take it away. I can't say anything about this thing. So go ahead.
I don't even know how I came across this one. I literally was browsing through Steam. I saw this demo, and I just looked at it. It was this hexagon-based, turn-based, post-apocalyptic world, and I just thought, free demo. Might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
Now I actually found out that the studio that's done it, Blue Bottle Games, is actually run by Daniel Feder, who left his job at BioWare, and if my research is right, he was like the lead tech artist for Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah, the name rings a bell. Funny enough, I don't know why, but yeah, go on.
But basically, he took this independent project and made a game that actually really feels post-apocalyptic. Now, there's not much in terms of story, because when you start off, you literally wake up in a cryogenic laboratory in this ruined post-apocalyptic world. You don't know what year it is. You don't know who you are, apart from this name, from this medical bracelet that's on your wrist. And you've got something crawling out the hallway ready to pin you down and just rip your throat out.
Lovely.
It's literally, then it just slaps you on the ass and says, all right, go for it. Let's see what you do.
Kicks your ass out of the door, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Does it have like a very Fallout-y sort of feel then, post-apocalyptic wise? Not obviously with that sort of aesthetic, but still.
I want to say yes, but I'll be honest. Fallout, in comparison, it feels like it borrows from the aesthetic of a post-apocalyptic world because you go out and that's it. You're more or less the hero of the waste, and you can shoot anything that comes in you, where it be it's a death claw or just some evil robot army.
Yeah.
With this one, the amount of times I've had to turn around and just go, you know what? No, this is too much for me. I am pegging out. I mean, I've had two. There was this one instance when I came across two perfect innocent, two perfect strangers, and I won the situation, but I had a broken leg. I was coughing blood, and just I was worse than when I went in.
Oh,
This
so
is
like,
a game.
is it like a
This is
strategy game then? It's like the
Yes, it is because you've got to. This covers everything: your temperature, your thirst, your hunger. You suffer diseases. You can get broken limbs. You have to build. You can build yourself splints. It's just this is a game where you can just run any direction, and it can really you can die from anything. It is unforgiving.
It's a lot more in depth than things like Fallout. Then.
Yeah, really, really badly.
and a lot more brutal than a game like Fallout. Because in Fallout, once you get a grasp of Fallout, it's pretty easy. I have to say, really.
That's why I got bored with New
Vegas. Once you get yourself your plasma rifle, then that's it. You're more or less game over.
Yeah.
But what can I say? I don't even know. I barely know anything about the story because it's still in beta and it's being developed. And all I know about this guy is, well, no, do you know what? I'm not actually going to tell you. All I know is you're Philip Kindred. You're put in this cryogenic facility. You look up on the computer that you've got a bank account. That bank account is paying for your freezing in Detroit megacity just down the road, and that's all you know. That's all you can do. You can either run with that, or you can just go around around the entire map, just looting and just being the hero, being the survivor of the waste. Not a hero, just a survivor.
Yeah.
You can suffer from every kind of illness, from hypothermia, diarrhea, dehydration, malnutrition, even just poisoning. Because the amount of times I've eaten some berries or had some dodgy water, and suddenly I'm just like huddled in a corner, spending the next few days just in my own little camp and just trying not to die.
Wow.
This game also comes with what conditions or feats. I'm trying to think what the proper name for it, but basically you get to choose conditions for yourself where you get to have where you dictate how you were. You could have wonderful medical knowledge. You could be an athlete. You could be a hunter. You can be really skilled at range weaponry or melee weapons. And you can there's even a skill for botany.
Oh, really?
Cool.
And I will say now, that skill has saved my life more times than I care to admit. You know how I told you at the beginning? Literally, this was my other playthrough. Haley just told me, "Ooh, botany, take it." And I just like, how is botany going to save me? And I just took it for a giggle. And you wake up from your cryogenic facility. Mutants, all kinds of things live in the waste. This giant dog-like man suddenly comes through the walkway, and there was an option there: use botany to save you. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And there's this herb growing in the corner. You just throw it all over yourself, stamp on it, rub it on your hands, and it turns out to be some weird herb that it just does not like. It sniffs you and just goes, "Oh God, no, none of that, thank you. I'm going to find something more palatable."
Like you just let one rip, sort of thing.
And Haley was just looking at me, this biggest smirk on her face, and just like, so botany saved you straight up, didn't it? And
I win.
Yeah. And it's actually really good because I'm going through the forest trying to pick up stuff to survive, and I can tell which mushrooms or which berries will kill me and which ones won't.
Rather than just eating random stuff and getting ill and diarrhea, huh?
Diarrhea, seriously, that nearly killed me more times than I care to count. It's constantly growing. There's a lot more going on. There's recipes you can learn to do to craft certain items, spears, even traps to kill other animals, like hunt squirrels or deer or anything like that. You get a variety of clothes, so you can dress yourself up, bundle up in t-shirts, put on some thick animal skin to keep yourself warm when it gets really, really cold and wet.
Yeah.
It's the most in-depth survival post-apocalyptic game I've ever seen in my life.
It sounds like to me, just from hearing it, that it's less, as you say, less about the story, and it's more about letting you make your own story in terms of making the survival hard. Like if you were to put it, like I said, I don't know if the game does like stack up to Fallout or anything, but that's just the post-apocalyptic thing that I know of recently. But like that game is less about surviving and more about story. But like I'm guessing like if you got a game that's so about surviving, you just get a story from doing that anyway, just from the gameplay. And we've said before, how we prefer that sometimes. Like XCOM doesn't have that much of a story, but the story is from the choices that you make. Is it roughly the same thing that like each different playthrough like is a different story? You can go out a different way.
I'd say so, because a lot of things can happen to you. There is a major underlying story, but you've really got to dig if you want to find that out. Because I've had a few playthroughs, and it wasn't until about my 20th when I suddenly come across this Indian guy, and she touched this copper pendant, which you have when you wake up, and just said, "Oh, you might want to see my people about that," and points you up to this nation where you can find out more about it. And then suddenly it turns out it's just like, "Oh, you've been here before. What? Who am I? What do you know about me?" And it's just a lot more goes on underneath and tells you about what you've got this copper pendant around your neck, and who gives you an insight as to what your character was before they were frozen.
Yeah.
There's a big undercurrent under there, and if you want to look for it, you can. But the game's just happy to turn around and say, you know what, you want to wander out the wilderness, kill yourself a dog man, and lay waste to the blue frogs. Do whatever you want, man.
Yeah. like in terms of like the game, like you say it's in early access. How early is the access? Is it still a lot of rough edges around it? Is it still a lot of work that needs to be done?
They're looking to add more content onto it. I'd say it is beta. I'd say they're more or less done. The game itself is hexagonal-based map and it's turn-based.
So it's perfectly functional.
It's perfectly functional as it is. I mean, the guy could leave it, and it's a perfectly adequate game, which you will get some good fun out of it. But he's adding more, because at the bottom of this is actually set in Michigan in America. At the bottom, there's this toxic swamp, and before the last build for it, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
You just walked into the swamp, and you're like, oh, it's a swamp. Never mind. But now he's added a lot more to it. So the ruins there are a lot more richer for loot, but you're also more prone to diseases and other kinds of ungodly horrors that could be lurking in some toxic radioactive swamp.
Yeah, the sort of risk or reward gameplay sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's adding a lot more to it as he goes.
That's cool. That's cool. That's always good. I always like that when like it's obviously a passion project.
It is, yeah. So it's his first independent gaming project.
Yeah, so like obviously like he's going to be trying to add a lot more stuff in, and the thing is I don't like about early access games is when sometimes when you get these early access games that are released or beta games, you know, that are in beta for God knows how long. And like whenever like a passion project is made of that, and they're constantly trying to update things, the thing is, like I said, with early access stuff, is sometimes you get like a non-functional game, and they dupe people into buying that game. But like if it's a fully functioning game, I've got no problems with early access as long as it's good. And obviously this guy's got a good base game; he's just adding to it. But whenever anyone says to me early access, all these long beta games, that's my first thought: is the game actually functional? Because there's a lot of games out there that aren't, and they sucker a lot of people. Oh, well, you're buying into the beta, it's part of the beta. Well, no, a lot of the times these games will be in beta for like 3 years. You know, it's just ridiculous. The word beta is a little bit overused, but it sounds like a game like that would be like how long hour wise is like one playthrough, roughly.
That can vary. I mean, you could literally have a bad run to begin with. You don't find any decent clothes, and you can die of hypothermia within like the first half hour.
Wow.
It can be quite brutal. You've literally got a surgical gown and you're just slapped out the door.
Yeah.
And you take it from there. And if you're not careful, if your carelessness will kill you.
Yeah.
If you don't think them through, you will die.
Yeah.
If you don't find the right tools, the right clothes, you will die.
Yeah.
It's not a question of how you're going to die, but when you're going to die.
Is it unfair? Have you ever found it to be at least a little bit unfair? Sometimes you need something, but there's just no way you can get to it, or sort of thing. Is there anything along those lines?
No, I don't think so. Because most of the time, it does give you little events which you really can help you out. I mean, more often than not, first time, if I'm dying of hypothermia, the game will suddenly turn around and say, "Oh, by the way, you find an abandoned car. There's a sleeping bag in it." Everyone gets one. That's your one.
Yeah. I get what you mean. It gives you one pass, and then it's like, well, you know, we gave you one pass, and now you have to get on your way, sort of thing.
It will just turn around and say, if you can't hack it, then clearly you're not going to survive.
Yeah, try again.
I haven't had many playthroughs when I feel like it's being unfair. I mean, most of the time I just think, oh god, this is not going well. I need to branch out. I need to find another city.
Yeah. Okay, so like it's more along the lines of that you've made the wrong decisions, or you made a decision that you didn't know was wrong,
bad hands.
Yeah, you just got to deal with sometimes, you know, harsh realities of life. You just get given a bad hand. You just got to deal with it. Yeah. And a lot of games like that, like brutal games along those lines, just walk a very thin line along. We were talking about XCOM. XCOM does that sometimes, where it feels like these random aliens just come out right behind you. In fact, I released an episode of my entire team getting destroyed, but we won't go into that too much.
Because the AI is not on your side in that game, and it because it generates each chance of shot, whether you'll hit it is like randomly generated every time you'll play it for like every shot. So if it randomly generates, you getting a bad percentage for everything, you're going to miss most of your shots.
Yeah.
Which is extremely aggravating when like the aliens seem to be hitting every one of theirs and all getting critical. It's like, oh, fuck's sake, game.
This actually leads a point onto the AI, because your opponents, most of them, they're smart. If they think that they're not going to get anything from you, they will run away. Because the amount of times someone's come up to me, suddenly I just put a crowbar over my head and say, "You really want to go? Fucking come on!" They'll go, "You know what? No."
Yeah. Which
the only time you'll find a bloody-minded, determined enemy is the dogmen. And I tell you what, you see one of those, if you think you can take it, you better be sure, because it will kill you if you don't kill it.
Is it one of those things that, like, even if it's a close battle, because the damage has been done to you, will you just eventually die of the injuries, sort of thing?
If you don't look after yourself, you will. Yeah. I mean, I've nearly died of blood loss. I've had food poisoning. I've had blood poisoning, diarrhea, cholera, something like that. But not a time. You will, if you're not careful, if you do take the time, you will benefit from it, but it will take a while. I've had to spend a couple of days just sitting in this ruined cottage, wrapped up in my sleeping bag, just looking after myself, necking pain pills and antibiotics like it was water, and just praying to God that I would survive.
So basically, downing pills and stuff, you basically house, MD in Neo Scavenger.
That's the wonderful thing. If you don't know medicine, you could be taking anything for you just read the name of literally something from a pharmacy, and you're like, this?
How are you supposed to know?
If you take the medic perk, then perks. That was the word I was thinking of. If you take the medic perk, you can at least, it will say the name, but it will say in brackets, it's a pain medicine.
Yeah.
It's a water purifier.
It's poison and will kill you. So.
You don't actually find any meds that surround and say, "Don't take this. This will kill you." Every medication there has got a purpose.
Yeah.
Are they named like real world medications, so you can just look it up on Google?
Oh, I don't even know, because I haven't looked these ones up, but it's really complicated pharmaceutical names like Fligro,
stuff you'd have problem typing into a search engine, let alone sort of like
copy.
About 5 minutes to type out the name. You're like, what? Type out like 2 letters at a time.
Yeah, floxymycoglycosamine. Yeah,
that's exactly the same one.
What?
Yeah. It sounds cool. I have to say, this sounds like something that really up my alley. Like, I love games like this.
It's one of those beautiful little gems that you unearth a game and you just think, oh, this might be good. And suddenly it's a genuine treat when you find out and start playing it.
And it's one of those games, is it one of those things that, like, you could die, you start again, and like I said, it's like a new story. You go somewhere else instead, and it's like a different adventure.
Permadeath, and it regenerates the map as well, so nothing's the same.
Oh, so it's random map generation.
It does have fixed points where story-like elements happen, but the rest of it...
The in-between parts.
It's not the same.
Oh, that's good.
You come across random forests, you come across random little cities, and
That's good. I like that. So how much is Neo Scavenger in early access, roughly?
I think I got it on. Did I get it in sale? I don't even know. I think it was something like £8. Hang on, let me just see if I can.
I imagine if it's in beta, it'd still be pretty cheap.
It's still pretty cheap, but even for what it is, I'd say it's a steal.
Yeah. Well, as you said there, Chris, like you can, Tom, sorry, you can get the demo as you did and see if it's something that you'd be into. I'm going to try it, the demo at the very least.
Yeah, I think I might as well.
If you're unsure, just try the demo.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happens with it. It doesn't. I don't know if you get a finite amount of playtime or whether or not something will happen and you have to stop. But it's quite fair in the demo as well.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Is there anything else that you want to cover with it?
No. It's just
awesome sauce.
Seriously, if you love your post-apocalyptic survival simulations, because that's all it is. It's a survival simulation.
Yeah.
Play it. Just. Kitten stamp of approval again.
Kitten stamp of approval, which is good because
I recognise it's a niche game. If you don't like surviving from day to day, then and you don't like post-apocalyptic worlds, then just you might want to have a look at it first. Don't play the demo, then see if it's good for you. If you do enjoy post-apocalyptics and survivals, buy it.
Some people dislike the fact that when you progress in that game, once you die, it's over. And I understand why some people might dislike that. But a game like this is right up my alley, because I just see progression as getting a little bit further each time. It's not how much have I lost. It's like, okay, I lost, but let's get further next time. Let's play it more and learn the game and get further in the story and stuff like this. That's how I treat it. But some people...
There's always rage when it comes to permadeath, but you have to love it, don't you? Because it just makes it that much more special. I mean, Haley's like that when she plays Don't Starve. The amount of time she'll suddenly grab me and just go, 58 days, Tom. 58 days. Wasted.
All gone. It makes dying really, really important. And
it just makes it that much more exciting and tense when you're on the verge of death.
Yeah. And you manage, sometimes you might be able to survive, and sometimes you don't.
I've survived a month now. I am not dying now.
Yeah. But you inevitably will, so... Okay, let's move on to the last game. First game I'm covering on the podcast, which will be quite weird.
Right.
I am covering Grand Theft Auto Online. This is the online section that was tacked on to Grand Theft Auto 5, the newest Grand Theft Auto. They've also recently announced that they're doing an upgraded version for the new next-gen consoles and for PC as well.
Yeah, they are.
But this obviously review is based on only what I have, which is the Xbox 360 version, so the last gen. That's the only way you can get it at the moment, so there we are. Just a little bit of stats about the game. Grand Theft Auto 5, which obviously this Grand Theft Auto was based on, online was based on, it is the top-selling video game of all time. It made over $1 billion, which I sound like I just want to put like my little finger next to my mouth, and $1 billion. But when the game initially launched, the online function wasn't available. It was actually only 2 weeks after the game released. Now, big story about this. There's a lot of stuff about the online. I'm going to talk about the things that I don't think work very well in it and ultimately hold it back from being anything special. But let's go from the top of the bar. So we'll go from the launch. The launch was an absolute mess. It was a famous mess. Some would say that it was. So yeah, 2 weeks after the original game launched, so obviously the online foot launched, you couldn't get into the game. It wasn't functional. Yeah. It didn't work.
This made me laugh my ass off because they built it up so much that this is going to be the next big thing in online gameplay. It's the first truly open world gameplay. They hyped it up too much because as soon as they switched it on, everyone tried to log on and crashed every single server they were running. It was fucking hilarious.
It made the client like just unable to work, and a lot of the way that they built the game as well bought into that, but I'm going to go into that a little bit later about some of their lobby systems, which actually I know contributed to this mess. But there came a point, I remember when I first tried to get in, obviously when the thing launched, it would give you your first race, you complete it, that would be awesome. Or I think it's like the create a character and you get into it, and then the first race wouldn't work. It just wouldn't put you into the right lobby. You'd be stuck in a sort of weird limbo where you're in the world, but you can't do anything in the world, and there's no one else in the world because it's just not working. It literally wasn't functional. It didn't work, and it took them weeks. I'd say upwards of a month to make the actual game playable. To a point. Now I say, you could get into a game after a couple of weeks of launching. That's fine. I got into the game after a couple of weeks of it launching, a couple of days, because I was trying a lot. I was very, very much into GTA and tried to get into this game, the online section of it. The problem is that once they actually launched it, they hadn't fixed anything. They rushed people in, so the actual servers still were a mess. So what ended up happening is that I played for a couple of weeks, had my character up a good few levels, really getting into it, of what I could get it to work. And then suddenly, hundreds of thousands of players' characters were removed from the game for no reason. They didn't understand how it happened. So my character was gone.
Yep.
Forever. Out of the game. Can't use him. Still gone to this day. Haven't got him back. So he's gone. I had to make a new one. So, all the money that I had spent on that guy, I had bought him a garage, I bought him new cars, guns, all gone. All gone. Yep. All that money gone. So, yeah, already there's a bit of a distaste in the mouth. But some people, defended Rockstar saying, well, they didn't know they were going to have all this many sales. I say that's BS.
Yeah, I was about to say, I heard that as well. It's like their excuse was, we weren't accepting it to be this popular. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? After all the fucking promo shit that you did building your game up this much.
Yeah.
And considering what your game is, you really didn't think it would be this popular.
Yeah.
You fucking stupid.
It was a calamity. In all fairness,
It
was a example of how you do not launch an online section to your game. And
yes.
yeah.
To be fair, I did love that one tweet they did when a lot of people were complaining. They just turned and said, maybe you guys should get out of your parents' basements and live your life if you're going to spend the majority of your time complaining about the online feature of a game that's only just come out.
It's like, that's stupid. It really is.
Way to alienate your fans, Rockstar.
Like,
to be fair, it's Rockstar. They can get away with it.
Yeah, they can. But the issue is that it's not so much even that. It's the fact that they promised a game feature on this game and it did not work. So for any time that game was not working, in terms of consumer, it's not living up to what it advertised it to be. And that's a fatal flaw. You know, they were just trying to get this damn section of the game to work, and it didn't for a large space. Now, it does work now, obviously, and as I said, about a month after it launched, things were relatively stable. You know, I had a character, still worried it was going to get deleted, but that character is still here today, so that's fine. There have been other game-breaking stuff in the client, but I'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about the experience in general, okay? So, GTA Online, as you would imagine, is everything in terms of gameplay for Grand Theft Auto 5, just on an online feature. You can go and you can rob stores, you can complete story missions, you can race cars, you can have death matches, you can do lots of stuff. The game is filled to the brim of content. I can't say it isn't. It is. It's got a lot of stuff for you to do. But there are big issues with Grand Theft Auto Online, and the reason why it never lives up to the hype that it had surrounding around it. And so the whole thing about it is that is a progression that you earn money for doing all this stuff. You can get flashier cars, better guns, better clothes. So there's a good sense of progression in the game. I will always give it that. Progression is good. You know, that's fine. However, the game is broken.
Yes,
it is broken, and monumentally because of the matchmaking system. So when they first released this, they showed lots of really awesome footage of you sitting in your apartment. You're watching a lobby of all these people racing and having gunfights and jet planes going past and everything. What they failed to mention to you is that when you go into any of these races or gunfights or anything, or even playable story missions, you're removed from the free roam section of the map. So you're actually removed from that free roam section. You don't see anyone else involved in that. It's not like you're doing something on the fly. You have to go through a lot of menus to get to that point. So it's not nearly as fluid as it wants to make you think that it can be. Playing the game with a friend, as I played a lot with Matt, who's been on the podcast, is good. I can't deny. It's quite fun. Often you're playing along with each other, you're ramming each other, you're hunting each other, you're racing, you're exploring the map, you're having a laugh, you're tripping over things, you're just being a stupid idiot in Grand Theft Auto just with a friend. So that's fine. However, Grand Theft Auto Online, when you're alone, is dreadful. It really is. It is a lonely game. Funny enough, considering the fact you're surrounded by other players, you think, how could you be lonely? It does get very lonely. Very lonely. So, progression good. Matchmaking system bad. I'll go into the two major points why this fails. One of them is the matchmaking system, but the other part is the community.
Oh, fuck yes.
The community is rewarded for playing antisocially. And this is something that they tell you from the outset would not happen. You know, if you blow up another person's car, you have to pay for that car. That's fine. But if you kill them, nothing happens. You can troll them as much as you like. The only thing you get really badly slapped on the wrist for in Grand Theft Auto Online, like I said, is blowing up someone's car. But if you have a lot of money, you can just pay for that. It's not an issue, and that's fine. You can just troll them for that. It's not a problem.
No. Fair enough.
You can kill them. You can troll them. You can do whatever you like to them, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. It won't stop you from doing that. You can have a guy like me, for instance, because I've played a lot of the game. I've got sniper rifles, rocket launchers. I've got everything. I could take on a level 1 guy and make his life a living hell, and still kill him. And there's nothing you can do because he has a pistol. It's very wrong in the way it does that. Now,
and you respawn 10 feet down the road.
Yeah,
which is the most annoying thing. You don't even respawn far away from the guy that killed you. You respawn 10 feet away from him, so he just turns around and caps you again.
Yeah,
it's just stupid.
If you've got two people working together, There's no way you can get around it. And you think, oh, well, maybe the community might be nice. There are no nice people in this community. They will outright gun you down. They want to gun you down. Yeah. There's no cooperation. I remember
if someone's like a hired, like, I mean, this is the reason I actually fucking stopped playing this, because I literally spent a good 45 minutes trying to flee from 3 dudes who were just tearing around the map, killing everyone they came across, and they decided to specifically hunt me because I was like the lowest level person in the lobby at that time.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it just made the game completely fucking unplayable. And I was like, no, that's it. I'm not fucking having this. This is like constant Call of Duty bullshit. This is worse than a Call of Duty community. That's fucking saying something.
Yeah, like you can go into a map on your own, but it's Call of sorry, not Call of Duty. It's GTA Online. When I first came in, I thought what I can do is I can find other people. I can get into their car. We can go rob a store together. And I have to admit, in the first couple of days of me playing this game, there were people who drive up and they would honk their horn. I'd get in their car and we'd go rob a store. It was awesome, you know. Or we'd go and or you know, see what's going on. You know, maybe go into a race together. It was awesome. But now the community has dissolved from the fact that a lot of these people have started off the fact that they just treat it like a big deathmatch arena. So they'll just shoot you, and now everyone's now just doesn't trust each other. So now if you get close to someone else, they will shoot you because they think you're going to shoot first, regardless of whether you're going to do it or not. So I haven't had any cooperation in the game from someone I haven't.
So basically, it's just evolved into DayZ now.
Yes. The issue is here with GTA. People may be listening to this and go, well, Tony, come on. There's a passive mode. I hit back at you and say the passive mode is broken.
It is bullshit. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You can and will be killed while in passive mode. Passive mode, all it means is that you can't get out your gun. It makes you a sitting target to be killed. You can't be shot, but you can be run over.
Exactly.
You can be blown up because technically they can put a bomb next to you and the explosion would kill you. They're technically not killing you in the eyes of GTA Online.
And as there's loads of douchebags that have access to C4 in the game, they just chuck C4 at you for fucking ages. Yeah, I've had that problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. Or they'll keep ramming you because there's nothing against that. It doesn't stop them. In passive mode doesn't work. It's broken.
Yeah.
It basically makes you defenseless because you can't get your guns out.
To kill.
Yeah, funny enough. So passive mode already broken, and it hasn't been fixed to this day. It's still broken.
Yeah.
So yeah, free roam is a map with 16 people. All of them will kill you. That's essentially it. If one of them might be nice, then you might maybe get on with someone, and then the other 15 people will kill you.
Yeah.
That's fine. Right, matchmaking system. This is the main thing that I think is wrong with this game. Main thing that draws it back with the online section. The matchmaking system is awful. It just flat out is awful.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very odd the way it does it. So, I'm going to do an example of what the matchmaking system does, and then you'll see why it's wrong. So let's say, Tom has the game, Chris has the game, I have the game. We're all in a group together. We want to do a mission together, We want to do a story mission together, So we go into a story mission. It kicks us out of that free roam section, so we all have to load into the same lobby, which, as you can imagine, takes a while to get into because you have to load out of the map. So you go into this thing where you kind of like come out of the map a little bit, and it puts you into the lobby, so it takes a while to load. Once you've loaded it up and everyone's in, you start up the mission. You can complete the mission. That's fine. What it will do then, constantly, is that it will put us all in different free roam sections. After that.
Then we've got to go and find each other again.
Yeah, so what happens then is that we have to load back into the map. All of us have to load back into the map. And sometimes it might put us in the same lobby, which Grand Theft Auto's online's like calling card is, will always put you in a lobby where your friends or your clan mates will try and pair you up. It doesn't do that, I can guarantee you. The amount of times that I've been playing with Matt and we've been put in... I mean, it's only a 2-man group. It's not hard to put us in the same lobby. And it's split us into different lobbies. It's ridiculous. It's not hard to get a good... with the amount of money that they got, it's not hard to get a good matchmaking system going.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So like the matchmaking is horrendous. One of the worst things about this as well is that what it will do, because as I said, you're basically, when you start up event, you come out of free roam, you load in the event, and then you go into the lobby, then you load into the lobby, load into it loads up that event, you play the event, and then it loads you back into the map. So there's so many menus and loading screens you have to get through just to do one event. So you could be trying to, let's say you want to do a race, right? And you get into a race, there's a few people there, you're waiting for people to get into the lobby, so you might be waiting, let's say, a couple of minutes for them to get into the lobby, you're waiting for everyone to pick out their car, waiting everyone to do their bets, waiting everyone to pick out what colour they want their car. It takes ages to get into something like this. And then because of the way that these servers are a little bit messy, it may kick you out of that when it starts, and you have to do it all again. So you could be waiting a long time to essentially do nothing. The matchmaking is wrong. It's horrendous, and it made you, with all the advertisers, made you think that it was going to be on the fly sort of thing, that you go into this race and maybe you become invulnerable. Maybe you know, to the rest of the people in the free roam, you're now ghosts. They can't harm you, and you drive and you do your races or your death matches. I think that probably would have been the best way to do it, but they chose to go this long, half-assed route, which just takes far too much time to actually play the game with your friends.
Yeah,
which is just absolutely wrong.
It just becomes such a grind. It really does.
It grinds just to do what you want to do. You have to wait to do races with your friends because it keeps putting you in different lobbies. And what will happen after you do like a race or a death match is that it will give you a list of other stuff that you could do, and you can go through this list 3 times. And if you don't find anything on that list that you want to do, like i.e. another story mission, then you have to go back into free roam and try again.
Yeah,
it's really, really poor. So, matchmaking system, I think, is the ultimate bad thing with this thing. And I think that GTA Online suffers from a identity crisis. It doesn't know if it wants to be a mad deathmatch free roam arena or if it wants to be a co-op experience. And it hasn't gone either way.
Yeah.
And like I said, sometimes it will promote antisocial gameplay. And it's just really, really shitty. So, here's some of the more controversial stuff about the game. In terms of the online section, anyway. This is not going into, there's lots of killing and stuff into the game. I'm sure there's a lot of controversy that surrounds GTA, but just in the online section. So, there's a lot of planned aspects that are supposed to be added into the online experience.
Yeah.
This is now, I think it's almost very soon anyway, a year since GTA 5 was launched. And one of the big selling points about GTA Online was it's going to have heists, much like the main game has, where you plan your heists out with your friends, you go do all the work, and you can then do a big heist with your friends, and depending on how well each of you do, you can get a nice amount of cash. And there's going to be lots of heists added into the game. Heists still aren't in the game.
No. Still haven't got that working, have they? Which is fucking ridiculous. They announced this thing that's going to be their big selling point, but they seem to have no idea how to implement it at all.
Yeah, a year after launch is a lot of time. Obviously, they thought of doing it, thought it would be really great, but I firmly believe they hadn't even started work on it when this game launched.
It's not like they say, we might be putting this in, it's an idea we're toying with. No, they say we're definitely going to be doing this. This is going to be a thing.
Yeah, you just have to wait a little bit longer, and it's going to be in the game. But a year later is really excessive. Now they added stuff into the game. I'm not going to say they haven't added stuff in. They've added stuff like you can make your own race types. You can make your own races now in the game. You can make your own death matches.
Yeah.
But I would say that the stuff like heists were meant to be like a massive, as you say there, Chris, it was meant to be a massive bullet point on what the online experience could give you.
Yeah.
And it's not been put in. It's just not there.
They just don't seem to have a clue as to how to do it, because they keep saying, we're finding technical issues. It's like, well, should you have not sorted that shit out before you announced it?
Yeah. It's just a lot of additions. Yeah, a lot of the additions just haven't been added in, and heists are just the main example of that. But there's other stuff that they said they were going to add in, and they haven't yet. A lot of people have left the game now because they've played their fill, and I fully agree. There's other stuff to talk about in regards to what I dislike about the game. There's a lot of stuff that I like about the game, as I said there before. The progression in it is brilliant. I really do think that.
Yeah, and you can get some fun out of it as well.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of fun. Like, most fun I've had in the game is not doing the missions, not doing the races, not doing the multiplayer. It's just free roaming around with a friend in a map with no one else, and just screwing around, just having a laugh. And in that sense, there's no game that can give you that quite like GTA Online can. But there's a lot of stuff in the game that doesn't work. Now, I'm going to go back to a lot of the stuff that it got wrong. I.e., the game has suffered since, obviously that absolute mess of a launch where weeks it wasn't working properly and characters are being deleted.
Yeah.
There's been huge game-breaking hacks into this game. Leaked in. Yeah. Huge. I mean, and when I mean game-breaking, I mean hugely game-breaking. Into the best part, I think, about the game, which is the progression. One day, I killed a bounty and I was awarded with $1 billion.
Whoa.
What?
Yes.
Jesus.
Little fingers come up there, eh, Tony?
Yes. My finger again, yes. $1 billion. Yeah, I'm not lying. I killed a bounty and I got $1 million. I
Hell.
was instantly rich. So all that progression and all the stuff I wanted to get and buy was gone because I went out and bought everything, obviously, because I was a billionaire.
Yeah.
This was a big bug that happened in the game. Basically, someone had managed to leak in, making bounties far more than they were worth, and so lots of people were killing bounties as I was, and suddenly just having more money than they could ever do within the game.
Yeah.
So like it was game breaking because you could get anything. You could buy tanks and it would be nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and once you've got a tank on GTA Online, there's nothing that can stop you apart from another tank. They eventually got rid of all the money, but all the people, they can't obviously, they banned a lot of the people that brought the bug in, but a lot of people like myself had bought stuff with that money and they can't get rid of that. They can't ban me, I didn't do anything wrong. So they just removed my money, but I still have all these flashy cars, which I guess is cool, but it's still a little bit crap considering I know a lot. Like, you know, Matt, who's been playing, he didn't get that bug, so now he's got regular cars, he's been progressing normally, and I wish now that I could have done the same thing, you know, that I could have grinded up, got all this money, but you can't.
There's you cruising around like, you know, 007 money bags, and he's still like cruising around in like the Robin Reliant. Like,
yeah. And it's ironic that I would envy him because he can still grind up to all this stuff. I've got nothing else to work for. I've already got everything I want. So
sure, my garden's made of solid gold, but my neighbour's AstroTurf just looks so inviting.
Yeah. Now what's left for me? Well, I guess I go complete the stunt jumps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other bugs include invincible players that won't die. They had that for a little time. There was a mission at the beginning of the online launch. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this, but anyway, this is another one. So before that cash scam, where basically all billions of dollars were being handed out, there was a mission at the beginning of the game that allowed players to complete a mission in under 10 minutes and get a load of cash. Not 10 minutes, a minute, and get a load of cash. And what they could do after completing it, they could instantly replay it. And what they were doing, they were basically repeating it over and over and over and over again, and just getting loads of money for doing no work. And that was eventually addressed, but it took them months to get onto that, and by then the damage was already done. Lots of people had already been grinding that event, and now you don't get any money of it, but it was too late.
See, I don't see why, like especially these bigger game companies don't employ some of these people who hack games and employ them so that when they release a game, they give the game to this person and go, right, fucking break it. Just destroy the shit out of this game so we can figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, if you pay them to do that, they'll quite happily take this game and absolutely annihilate it for you, and they can point out what's wrong, so you can then take it back into the studio, reconfigure it so no one can hack it, and so that it works, and go bam, perfectly working game. No one can bitch about anything.
Exactly, yeah. They can plug all the holes and make it much harder for these people to work, but they don't do that because they're too proud and they think they can get away with it, and obviously they can't, which is the case here. Late game. This is a big section of this game, right? Because I played enough of this game to get to late game, so I'm now above level 80. And one of the other more annoying parts of this game, story missions in this game can be pretty good. You know, they actually allow you to get a little bit of story. You can interact with some of the characters from the campaign, so you know, pretty cool. The problem is when you get to late game, there's not enough missions that actually get you enough experience to get you over the next hump of story missions. So you will be replaying the same missions over and over and over and over and over and over again. And in the late game missions, what will tend to happen is that they'll give you a constant respawn of enemies, lots of cheap tactics, and they'll give you what is really annoying, which I think is just stupid from. I don't understand how they thought of this, and it still hasn't been amended. I played it recently, and it still hasn't been amended. There are missions that require vehicles to complete, but it doesn't tell you where to get them.
What?
Yes.
Really?
So basically, for one of the missions, you need a cargo bob, which is basically a military a military aircraft that will hook onto stuff and lift them. You know.
Yeah.
And there's a few missions that require you to get this, but it never tells you where to find them.
You think we'll go hunting for one?
Yeah, and you can call up Lester, you know, who's one of your guys in your phone, tell him, find me an aircraft, it won't be a cargo bob, and basically you have to drive often halfway across the map to get into a plane, and then to scour the entire map looking for a cargo bob, which may or may not spawn at different times of the day, and you may have to go into the military base, and when you do that, you instantly get shot down. There's a chance you could die. It's just broken. It just really is broken, and you can't do it without having that particular vehicle. So
yeah, you'd think they'd spawn like a cargo bob somewhere for you, like an instant specific cargo bob.
Yeah, I mean, some of the missions they require you to get a truck, and they tell you where the truck is, or a rough area of where to get said truck, and a truck's normally spawn around this area, so you go there, you drive around for a bit, find the truck. That's fine. But with this one, where it was asking for the cargo bob, like, I wouldn't even mind if they programmed it so it's like maybe a military group are like hanging out in like a car lot somewhere. You have to go take the military lot out and steal their cargo bob. It would be a lot better. That way you've got an actual target you can go to and an enemy to face. But when you don't know where to go, then the game just gets basically, that's where the game gets most lonely.
Yeah, because it's not exactly like a small area you've got to search.
Yeah, the map is big, as you know, to do a lot of stuff. I think I'll leave GTA with words, and I think it's probably the best way I can ever say it. When Grand Theft Auto Online works as the developers intended it to, it's brilliant. It really is. It's fantastic, really good, does best what other games wish they could do. The problem is that it very rarely works as the developers intended it to, and that's the issue with it.
I will say, just before we get off this, they have instigated something recently, which was the psychopath thing, which they put in it, so that if you go around murdering other players, willy-nilly just murdering everyone you see, your like psychopath rating will increase, which means people then killing you will earn them more money and more XP. And I think they put that in to combat the problem of people going around and killing new players. But if anything, it's made it fucking worse.
It has. Yeah, I was about to add that.
It's what the fuck?
Yeah, it's actually broken. I'll tell you the reason why is because they didn't think of it properly. Because what happened is that players come up as as white blips on the map, right? And as you say, the more that they shoot people, they turn red. The problem is when you've got a character that has a bounty on them, they're red as well. So now you can't differentiate between the people that are psychopaths and the people who have bounties on them.
Yeah.
So
it's just fucking stupid. I mean, and the whole bounty thing as well. That is fucking it's fucking stupid in my opinion. I know they put it in as another way of earning money in the free roam mode, but in my opinion, it's broken and it encourages antisocial bullshit. Yeah. I had people setting $1,000, $2,000 bounties on me. They were going around as a pair, setting a bounty on me. The other one would kill me, then set a bounty on me. The other one would kill me, then set a bounty on me. Yeah. It's like, for fuck's sake, this is just money farming, but doing it to an actual person. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's so douchey.
It's like, there's a lot of ways that you control people in this game, and like I said, the way that Rockstar put in measures to combat antisocial gaming is so laughable how they don't work. It's like the passive mode is laughable. It's hilarious because it doesn't work. It's completely broken.
I mean, I did that. I put on passive mode for the first time. I was like, I'm safe.
No, bang, dead. Insta kill, and it's like, stupid as hell.
Yeah. It's even more insulting when they kill you and then don't even bother to pick up the $2 that you dropped when you die. That somehow makes it even more insulting.
Yeah. One of the things as well that's a little bit annoying that they did amend is that you can buy apartments, right? And basically, what people didn't realise is that there's 3 tiers of apartments. You can get high end, and you can get a really swanky apartment. You can get a middle one, which is you get a TV, you get a shower and stuff. And you get basically a dirt ditch where you get not a lot of stuff in it. The issue is that they amended recently, so I have to give them props to this. But there was a long time where this wasn't happening. It doesn't matter. You could buy the $210,000 apartment, which is the top end one. Yeah, it's the cheapest top end one. And it would be no different in terms of look or aesthetic to the $400,000 one. There's no difference to it.
No.
So you can spend almost double your money, which is a lot of money, by the way, to save up to get to this apartment. Yeah. And there's no point. It's exactly the same. Now they've changed it now that you can buy even more expensive ones. They do have a different skin. There's more stuff you can do. You can watch TV and stuff in the game, which you can do in the main campaign anyway. But for a long time, there's a lot of stuff that they promise. I just don't believe that they managed to.
Did they actually get around to doing that whole crew specific pad?
No.
No,
not so far. That. No, they've never done that.
No, and that was something that, and again, that was another big bullet point they put forward in all of their commercials and all their material for it was that, if you've got a crew, you'll have a specific crew pad. What they actually meant was you can go around to your crew's apartments and hang out there.
Yeah.
That's what they actually meant. They didn't mean a crew specific one where you keep all your crew vehicles. It was just like someone designates himself like the crew hangout.
You could have like a mansion where maybe because it creates an instance when you go into your apartment, and then like obviously people come into your instance, so that's fine. But yeah, I get what you mean. It could have been really easy as like a crew to get all this money and buy like a really swanky mansion, and whenever you go in there, it puts you in an instance with anyone else that's in your crew that manages to be there. You can hang out, talk to them, play some music. But it just seems like a wasted opportunity. They didn't do it.
Yeah, it just seems kind of half-hearted and lazy and a bit of like, marketing trickery a little bit there.
They did lots of marketing trickery when it comes to GTA Online. They made people believe it was going to be a big, persistent world, and it's not. It's a mess of lobby matchmaking. It just doesn't work as it should do, and sometimes you'll boot it up and you may only get 2 missions done in an hour or 2 races done in an hour because things just don't work. You try and do a playlist. There's just lots of little things. You try and do a playlist, and like if you start to win, then people leave, so you don't even get your money boosts for playing the whole playlist in a row. It's just poorly made in terms of its matchmaking, and there's a lot of ideas that they had that just never really.
Yeah. And it'll match you up like even I noticed this when I first booted it up and I was a complete noob. I was like level 2 or 3. Yeah. It'll put you up against people who are level like 40 or 50. It's like, well, I'm fucked, aren't I?
Yeah,
I have a pea shooter and I'm up against people with like fucking big ass machine guns and LMGs and fucking rocket launchers. It's like, oh well, fuck this shit.
Yeah, because you bring your own guns into the death matches. I thought that was so stupid.
Yeah, I mean some of them have like was it map specific guns like actually I find the user made ones are a damn sight better than the ones that were originally on there.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
The ones that are originally on there are absolute fucking shit. They're so badly made, but the user made ones are like awesome. Some of them are like really simplistic. They're like especially like one of the ones in the city where it's just like a load of like attack choppers, jets and tanks up one end and then the same up the other end, and it's just
I do remember. That's a good one.
That's just see, that's just such fun. And then there's another one in the airport that I'd play a lot, which gave you like miniguns and 50 cal sniper rifles and jets and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I saw one of the community members basically fix all of Rock. This is exactly what Rockstar should have done. He basically fixed it so when you start up, you have a combat rifle standing right in front of you as soon as you spawn. So as soon as you start the game, you have a combat rifle.
Yeah,
and like it's like. Done. That's the entire issue of level 1s going against level 50s or level 100s problem dealt with. Because now, when you've got a combat rifle, you can take out anyone. That's a good enough gun to take out anyone in the game.
Yeah.
Yet Rockstar didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of their maps, you'll have to belt it into the middle of the map to get a gun. Whereas, like, if you're level 1 or 2, you've only got a pistol against guys that have got sniper rifle, like high-powered sniper rifles, combat rifles, machine pistols, like all the stuff that you would need. I always feel really bad if I'm going against someone on a Rockstar made deathmatch map and they're only like level 5 and I'm shooting them with like a Spaz 12 shotgun that's automatic, just goes bang 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 bang. It's just like it's ridiculous. But
they make kosherized rules.
Yes, yeah, it's unfair at times, GTA Online, and I think it makes you work against the game. I think that's a cardinal sin of any game. That if you're trying to work against the game to have fun, it's not letting you have fun, and that's the issue with GTA Online. So, does anyone else want to add anything to GTA Online?
No, I think that's it. It's just it can be a good game, but there's too many douchebags playing it. To be honest. And
as you said, when it works as the developers want it to, it's fine. But it very rarely gets to that point. That's the issue. So. Okay, guys, I think we're done. I think we're out here. Yeah. Great podcast here this week. We covered Resident Evil 5, Neo Scavenger, which I am going to try, and that sounds badass, and Grand Theft Auto Online. We do hope that you guys did enjoy the podcast this week. We had myself, Tony, and we had Chris and Tom, the mainstays, the cornerstones, I'm going to call you, of the podcast.
Yay.
Me, myself, and Tony, did you say?
Yeah.
Me, myself, and Tony. What?
The rom-com, which will be released sometime in summer. No, I'm joking. So yeah, we're back again next week. We'll be covering more games and covering the news as usual. We'll have as we usually do, a myriad of kittens up on the to share their gaming experiences with you. If you did enjoy the podcast, then subscribe. You can also take a look at Chris's channel, who covers games as well on YouTube. You can click on his glorious face or his Steam icon, and you can go to his channel. You can check out his channel. And apart from that, guys, we hope that you had a great week. Hope you did enjoy the podcast, and we hope you catch us again next week for more gaming chat. Until then, we'll catch you soon.
All right, then.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.